Alrighty. We have an incredible team at the Jacobs Institute for Innovation and Education, where the challenge was created alongside our Pactful Design Thinking Innovation app that you use for this event and the challenge. Many of us are on the call today, but this event would not be possible without everyone's hard work and dedication. Here is our team. We have Perla Myers, our Executive Director, Lisa Dolly, she is our Senior Innovation Fellow and co-inventor of Pactful. We have Rebecca Ottinger, she is also on this call today. She's our Project Manager. We have Derek, who is our engineering consultant, and my name is Annie Avalos. I am the Social Innovation Specialist here at Pactful. So what exactly is Pactful? Pactful is a patent-pending social good innovation tool and curriculum used globally by teenagers and students and educators who want to build a better world. Pactful is entirely a virtual solution that inspires students to actively engage in the design thinking process and develop an innovator's mindset to create solutions aligned to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. So why did we create Pactful? Research shows that your chances of becoming an innovator and inventor depends heavily on several variables, such as where you live, your race, your gender, and your socioeconomic level. Statistically, if you are not wealthy, white, rich, or a male who lives in the 5 major US cities where the majority of patents are developed, you are 10 times less likely to become an inventor. Our Pactful app was created to bridge the gap in accessibility for innovation resources so that everyone, including those of you presenting today, have access to the tools to support you as an inventor. So, what is the Jacob Teen Innovation Challenge? The Jacobs Teen Innovation Challenge is an annual worldwide event that supports teachers and teenagers in developing social good solutions using design thinking. Participation is free, and educators receive ongoing support throughout the webinars. The Jacobs Teen Innovation Challenge is generously sponsored by Dr. Irwin and Ms. Joan Jacobs, who are the generous sponsors of the Jacobs Institute for Innovation and Education at the University of San Diego, where this challenge began. During this year's challenge, we had 4,700 students from 32 countries and over 133 teams completing the challenge. Our winners this past year were Illuminar. Illuminar is an adaptive sensory device designed for children in hospitals after the team noticed that many do not have access to toys that are adaptive to their needs. The team did thorough research at Rady Children's Hospital and has designed a light box prototype using Arduino and an LED matrix that they coded to change designs and when the children hit an adaptive switch with their head. We also had another winner. We had 2 winners this year. One was Dry Toilet. This was a creative prototype set out to improve the quality and accessibility of toilets available to patients waiting outside public hospitals, inspired by the team's research at Guadalajara Civil Hospital. This solution is an affordable, portable, and sustainable toilet that uses calcium hydroxide and an Arduino to flush. So now we will be getting started with the presentations. As a reminder, each presenter has 7 minutes for each pitch. Myself, as well as our project manager, will be using our Pactful rubric to provide feedback at the end of each presentation. Due to Zoom settings, I will be sharing each presenter's slides, so please say next when you want me to move on. Now we will hear from our first pitch. Everyone, please welcome ASDU Venture.
And I'm not sure if he is on the call yet. Hi, everyone. I'm Rebecca, project manager at Pactful. So while we're waiting, I would say let's go to the next person, Annie.
Okay. Okay, so we have a machine learning solution for discovering biomarkers for gastric cancer. Is Medha here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, wonderful.
Can
Go
you hear
ahead.
me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So my project is a machine learning solution for discovering biomarkers for gastric cancer. Okay, next slide, please. So let's first address the problem itself. So this project addresses the global challenge of early and accurate detection of gastric cancer. It targets the UN global goals of good health and well-being. And now let's discuss the importance of the problem. So, early detection of gastric cancer can make or break your prognosis. As the disease progresses, the mortality goes up. And because of that, you really need it to be diagnosed early in order to have a good 5-year survival rate. Gastric cancer is the fifth most common cancer worldwide and is the most common cancer in Asia, and with most cases being in Mongolia. This cancer affects millions across the world, impacting patients, families, and healthcare workers. Next slide, please. So, my solution combines machine learning with. Wait, I think you skipped a slide because I had a slide in between these two. Could you go back, please? Yeah, there should be a slide between problem and the next slide. There should be another slide. So
Oh, I'm so sorry about that. Um, oh, it might be out of order. Are any of these the slides? No.
no, it was like a slide elaborating on the issue. It's like it's the problem statement slide.
I see. Okay. So these slides are integrated into this presentation. So I'm not sure if I can go back and add in that one. But if you would like to still speak on that, I can stay on the problem side and you can.
Okay, yeah, I'll just speak on the more. So
Okay.
the next thing I wanted to discuss was the most common diagnostic tool used for gastric cancer right now, which is an upper endoscopy. So, an endoscopy is a tube with cameras and sensors that you insert into the mouth and down the food pipe or esophagus into the gastric region or stomach. And it will take pictures of the stomach wall and lining and send it back to a monitor. And on that monitor, you can detect and see if there's any lesions whatsoever indicating of cancer. So this is actually highly inaccurate with an accuracy rate of 67%, which means 1/3 of the time you're getting an inaccurate result. And this is also extremely expensive, with the average price of an endoscopy in California being $2,300. So, and as gastric cancer affects the lower socioeconomic class, they're going to be even more hesitant to test, as one, it's not even accurate, and two, it's extremely expensive. So currently there has been good progress shown for mRNA biomarkers. So mRNA are basically um, nucleic acids which control protein creation, and so mRNA biomarkers have been shown to be really good in diagnosing cancer, gastric cancer, such as mRNA biomarkers like MMR, CPS, and HER2. But their accuracy is still significantly less than an endoscopy's accuracy. So there's still a long way to come with that. Next slide, please. So my solution combines both machine learning with microRNA analysis to revolutionize the gastric cancer diagnosis. So microRNA are a subset of mRNA or RNA that goes in and controls gene expression. So what I did was I developed a TensorFlow Keras neural network and I optimized it with Keras Tuner and Hyperband. And basically, my neural network would differentiate between a microRNA that was associated with gastric cancer and a regular microRNA. And doing this, it achieved over 86.55 for validation accuracy. That is nearly 20% more accurate than the expensive upper endoscopy. The solution would also be non invasive and it is really cheap, as all you need is a blood test to get microRNAs. And this improves patient outcomes and once again aligns with the UN global goal. And this is designed for validation in clinical settings through collaboration with medical professionals and comprehensive clinical trials. Next slide, please. So my target audience can be broken down into two parts, primary beneficiaries and secondary beneficiaries. So my primary beneficiary would be patients in Mongolia, as Mongolia is somewhat of a lower socioeconomic area, and a lot of people in Mongolia have gastric cancer. And they can really get the treatment they need because my solution offers accessible testing as blood tests are far more easier to come by than endoscopies and affordable diagnostics as they're cheaper. Secondary beneficiaries would be healthcare providers, patients globally, and global health systems, as it can save them a lot of money and it's non invasive. So, if someone's immunocompromised, they can still test for gastric cancer without worrying. Next slide, please. So, value proposition is that our solution is non invasive, cost effective, and it's blood based tests. So, it also has a higher accuracy than the traditional endoscopy. Our impact is that this could save millions worldwide as it would encourage them to get tested earlier. And if they got tested earlier, they'd have a better chance and better prognosis. So, call to action is join us in revolutionizing gastric cancer diagnosis by supporting our work, collaborating in clinical trials, or advocating for the adaptation of innovative healthcare solutions. Next slide, please. So, my slogan would be revolutionizing gastric cancer diagnosis with cutting edge technology. And our key message, once again, is that we have non invasive, blood based diagnostic tests which offer breakthrough and can make prognoses better worldwide. So, for further engagement or questions, please contact me at my email, which is miara6582@gmail.com. That's it. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Medha, for your presentation. Our feedback, this was an incredible presentation. I really liked how you touched on the problem statement, expanded on your prototype. The main piece of feedback I would give is just make sure that with your prototype, you include some maybe more diagrams or photos that depict what your prototype would entail. So for those blood tests, maybe include a photo of one, a sample one, or a drawing of one. That would really help during your pitch competitions. Rebecca, do you have any feedback?
Hi, that was wonderful. Very, very interesting. I was wondering what kind of testing, have you already done any feedback testing in the community or gotten any feedback from people in the community that you're working with to see how it goes? Like, is this a prototype that has already been in action at all, or is it in the creation phase still?
My prototype hasn't been like officially tested with real world clinical data yet. Unfortunately, since like I'm a minor, it's really hard to get like access to all like the hospital data due to like HIPAA laws. So I'm actively working on trying to find someone or maybe a person who works at a hospital who may be able to maybe take my project underway and help me get the data that I need. But unfortunately, I have not been able to find that person yet, but I'm still working hard to make sure I can maybe implement this in a clinical trial one day.
Nice. And have you been able to kind of, I know that you were comparing it to the traditional forms of the endoscopy, for example, like you were kind of comparing the sorry, words, using that versus this new version. Are there other people or other doctors that are currently have this idea as well, or research papers you found that also have come up with this kind of newer idea, or is this something that you haven't really seen on the map at all up to
Okay,
now?
so this is like, oh, like some people, so most people do biomarkers for lung cancer, but I really haven't seen much work done on like gastric cancer. It's more towards like more common cancers worldwide. Even though this is the fifth most common, people just like doing it for like the most popular cancers. So I
Mhm.
haven't really seen many like highly accurate biomarker tests for gastric cancer.
Okay. Yeah, so I would definitely if you end up doing future pitches on this to other people, like definitely a great point to include, right? That this is really something that is done in other forms of cancer, but is kind of, you're bringing it into this new one. But really, really interesting. I think it's great. And I would love to hear if anyone else has any questions or any comments. We do have a minute or two. If anyone would like to say anything, you're welcome to put it in the chat or ask to unmute. And while we're waiting for that, I would love for you to just share a little bit about yourself if you can.
So I'm an rising sophomore in high school, and I'm really interested in like medical AI and computational biology. So this is actually like a passion project as I'm really interested in both fields. So I love combining the two and like exploring it.
And did you say you're in the San Diego area?
Yeah.
Wonderful. So I would love to connect you with anyone at UCSD. I'm a UCSD alumni, and as you might know, we have a huge network of professionals exploring that area. So I could get you connected with them. I also have a connection with a startup foundation that they would love to hear your idea and expand more on that. It could definitely help you grow in that area. If you're interested, please let me know. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'd be really interested in that.
Wonderful,
Yeah.
wonderful. So we'll be in touch after the event. Yeah,
Okay, thank you so much.
of course.
And definitely, in addition to that, I would definitely recommend also share your email with us in the chat so we have it. But absolutely you should think about like joining the challenge next year and submitting for this project because I think it's a really, really strong project, and we'll talk a little bit more later, but there's ways that like we can give some direction on how to put together future pitches as well. It's really
Absolutely.
wonderful. Thank you so much for
Thank you
sharing
so
with us.
much.
Of course. So if anyone else has any questions, please raise your hand or put them in the chat. We'll just wait a few more seconds, and if not, we will be moving on to the next pitch. Okay, it seems like we don't have any more questions, so we will be moving on to our next pitch. And that would be Mara Sathi with Agrotech.
Hello, am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, please, can you move on the next slide? Like myself, Aryan Singh, and I'm from India. Next slide, ma'am. Like the problem that I have seen, like a farmer needs different machine for different activity of performing in agriculture. They need different machine to performing different activity, and they are all the cost effective. That's why I have come up with an idea called agrobot. Can you move on the next slide? The problem statement that we have seen, they need to buy different machine for different activities. Even if they on the machine on the rent basis, it was also costs very much and a high cost. Can you next slide, ma'am? Like they need different equipments like a different in traditional farming method they are using animals and different equipments like cultivator, harvester, and many more. Next slide, ma'am. This is just an example. Next, just created innovation called Agrobot. Agrobot is a smart and multitasking robot which can able to do multiple activities using IoT and AI, like cutting, seeding, irrigation, watering, and many more activities. And we can say it was a customizable bot which can able to do multiple tasks at affordable price. Next slide, please. The main target that we have decided, like first we are cost effective and economically best, like any small farmers to a middle class farmer that can easily afford it. Next slide, ma'am. This was the image of our robot. It can easily work on any type of land, like it is freely move on any type of land. It is fully adjustable. Next, please. The our targeted audience are primary, like only the farmers, as I have discussed, and targeted farmers are the primary consumers that we are targeting. We are providing them economically growth and the food security. Next, ma'am. Next, this is the like the slogan is empowering farmers for smart agriculture. The robot is a self IoT and sensor based technology, and it can able to do multiple tasks, as I have mentioned earlier. Ma'am, next slide. The USP, unique selling proposition of our project is, firstly, it was a dual axis solar. Like if we have seen nowadays, there is the solar panel which you have seen is stable, like it work on the stable position. And we have seen the problem, like the direction of sun keeps changing, and that's why we created a dual axis solar tracker. It can trap the electricity from the various direction according to the sun intensity, the light intensity. And the second, the feature that we have used, the robot incorporate a piezoelectric backup module. Like we can say, in additional, like how much we will use the robot, it can get charged automatically. And next slide, ma'am. Next, please. This has been also honored by the President of India, even the Prime Minister of India, Sri Narendra Modi ji. Next slide. Thank you. And would you like to ask any question?
Yes, wonderful. Thank you so much for your presentation. This was a very well thought out presentation. I loved how you included photos of your prototype. And I did have questions about what you mentioned towards the end about being recognized by the President of India. So does this mean that this innovation is already being integrated in India, or could you expand more on that, please?
Like I have integrated in India as the age of 17 only, and going to complete the order of 5,000 pieces of it from the government of India,
I see.
including
Wow.
I have. Yes, and including I have a diploma from Center of Moderating Future from the Russia in the mechanical engineering.
Wow. Very impressive. Very impressive.
Hmm.
Rebecca, do you have any feedback?
Also, if you have remember the Center of Moderating Future, like in Russia, there is a or event has organizing like Horizon. Uh, I also won that event.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Horizon. Yes.
What have you noticed has been what wonderful presentation, really interesting.
Thank you.
What have you noticed has been the feedback points that you've been able to kind of tweak your prototype as you go through? Because clearly it's at a stage already where it's going to be
Like
deployed.
we can say it was a MVP, minimum viable product. And the problem that we have seen, that why we need different machine for different activity in farming. The farmer should have a one solution in the market, like a machine which can able to do multiple tasks.
Mhm.
That's why we have created a model for farmers. In this machine, they are getting all the features which can multiple machineries can do, and our robot is can it can be worked by internet or without internet. Even it can work autonomously, like it can work self basis, on the
Mhm.
self basis.
And what did you find when you were creating the prototype? what were issues that came up that you needed to kind of change the prototype as you went along? Like, were you testing it with farmers to get feedback? I'd be curious to hear some of the um
Like I'm working under the Niti Aayog. It was a branch of government in India,
mhm,
and we have participated in many expos which organized by the Ministry of Agriculture, and in which get we get the expression of interest of 15,000 farmers, and it can varies according to event, and there we come to know that they are looking for a new innovation approach which can help them, like this is a common issue, like why a farmer or any like my target is farmer, it can used by anyone, even the robot can also be used for the gardening purpose, like any area, but the first priority is the farmers, like they are the backbone of our countries.
mm. It's great. And what has been their biggest feedback of things that they found really strong about it and things that they would like to see improved, or something that you're hoping to even keep working on the prototype? What are things that they said, wow, this is the most helpful thing? And what are things that, you've noticed as the person creating it that you want to keep working on for the future?
I got a better expression from them. That's why we get order of the 5,000 pieces, and at the age of 17, at the age of 16 to 17, we are going to generate the revenue of 5 CR.
That's great. Well, one thing I would say, if you want to present to, other, like also US, right? Like pitches and
Yes,
industry to get the buy-in, because it's such a powerful and strong prototype, and clearly something that the community needs, right? And is
yes,
addressing a
yes,
really specific issue. Um, so I think something that would be really helpful
yes,
in
yes,
pitches and is to really elaborate on the points that farmers themselves have said are
yes,
so
yes,
strong about this product, like say
yes,
giving some examples of ways that farmers have said, and maybe industry people have said, wow, this product is so unique and different because of X, right? Because it
yes,
does
yes, got it.
that. Um, and giving some having people see a lot of industry experts, including the woman who helped create this app, the Pactful app, who couldn't be here today, but is here with us in spirit. Um, One of the things that she often points out is that it's very helpful for us. Like if it were a competition, right? It's not here. We're just
Yes,
talking,
yes,
we're just talking and being able to present. But being able to show that you have put this product in the hands of the people who need it, and you have gotten feedback, and you worked on the product more to improve it after getting that feedback, and that you've done many iterations, many versions of your prototype, shows people that it is something that has really been developed and worked on and improved on and even changed over time, which I'm sure it has, to show
yes, yes,
that that product has gone through many stages, right, to get to where it is
yes,
today. So
yes,
that
ma'am.
those are just things that are really helpful to include in future presentations. But really,
Yes, ma'am.
really
We will.
interesting.
Sure, ma'am.
Really
We will.
wonderful.
Absolutely. And really emphasizing on those numbers. So all of the numbers you just gave us, like this many farmers, all of these all of these statistics are so valuable when pitching because they show that in real world impact, which is what you want to convey when you're pitching to investors specifically. So yes, but again, wonderful presentation, wonderful prototype.
Yeah, thank you so
Th-
much for joining.
Yes,
Thank you,
absolutely.
ma'am. Thank you for your time.
Does anyone else have any questions? Again, please feel free to type it in the chat or unmute if you wish to ask it directly. Okay, if there are no more questions, then we will be moving on to the next pitch.
不要放在身上太多 radiation 了，你可以放在一个小歪的 table。
Okay, so we will be moving on to our next pitch. Eco Smart Bin.
Hello. So our project is EcoSmart Bin. Next slide, please. So goals were UN global goals. So sustainable cities and communities and sustainable consumption and production. So the problem is that only 15% of the world waste is recycled nowadays, and more than $1,000 are wasted to sort 1 ton of garbage. And in 2025, the increase of amount of waste will be only 70%. So environment pollution and an effective waste management threaten ecological balance, health over society, and requiring urgent and innovative solutions. So our solution is EcoSmart Bin. It contains solar panels, AI food sorting, monitoring system, and user interface, and also compacting system. Next slide. So this is 3D model that we created in Blender. So you can see this future bin, what we are going to create. Next slide. So here is our app. The first 3 pages are registration pages, and the second is like little bit information about our project. And here you can see a map in a main page. It contains information where our bins are located, and under this map you will have information how much it falls and the charge that it has. So after that, we've got information page where you can have information why we created this and how to use this EcoSmart bin. And one of our news is that we've got a page with news. It contains news related to ecology, and as well as we will have a volunteering group, EcoSmart Bin. So EcoChatbot, which will answer all questions related to ecology, and also user page. Next, please. So this is our web. It will contain only like a little bit information about a whole project. Next one. So our analogies, we've made like little research, and we found that we've got 3 analogies. They are Big Belly, Sensenia, and Ecube Labs. And you can see that EcoSmart Bin is unique because it contains automatic waste sorting, waste compacting, solar panels, collecting data on thankfulness, and eco-activist community and news. Next, please. The smart way to a greener future. So here is our development plan, and the last step of our development plan will be 2025 December launch of mass production. So we also made like investigation how much money we need to create like this bin, and the total amount of money was $72. Next. So here is the planned growth, and you can see that in 2026 we will have a net income over the $50 million. So our goals and roadmap. First is research and planning, 2 months. Second one is designing, 2 months. 3 is development and integration, 9 months, and pilot launch within 1.5 years. That's all. Thank you. Sorry for my English. My English level is quite.
No, you did wonderful. Thank you so much for your presentation. This was wonderful. I was really impressed by your prototype design and just how, like, in your timeline as well, and how you expect to implement it. I wanted to ask, is this something that you're already working with perhaps investors or maybe someone at a school or manufacturers? Because you did say in a year you would like to start production. So if you could expand on that.
Sorry, can you like re-ask the question?
So of course, so are you currently working with investors or someone to get production going?
Oh, nowadays we've got investors searching for investor, and we've got one investor from our country. It's like fast food, fast shop where we can they they help to test our product
I see. Wow.
and to invest also.
I see. Wonderful.
I had a question, Odina. Wonderful, really interesting and very, very great slides. Really well presented, and very much captures the eye, which is really important. I was wondering if, and Annie, if you can go back to the slide that shows the 3D model.
Yeah.
I'd love if you could just talk a little bit more about the actual prototype. I may have missed it because I was doing multiple things, but I'd love if you could just tell us a little bit more about this prototype. What exactly is it that the prototype does? Just talk a little bit,
So,
talk us through a little bit more of the prototype.
So this model we created in Blender, and our smart bin contains 4 sections for garbage, and here it will have like solar panels to have charge, and as well as and AI to determine the type of garbage.
Can you say that again? And what?
AI to determine the garbage.
Determine like the type of garbage?
Yep.
And then what happens afterwards? How does this product affect the issue of how much waste there is?
So nowadays, like in our country, lots of people are throwing garbage. They are not sorting them and throwing like metal to the plastic, and with this project, we are trying to sort garbage for every sector.
Nice. Okay, so it's really dividing so that we are able to be more aware of separating the type of waste.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Very nice. So I think in the future that I would make that more what's the word I'm looking for? I would explain that more in the presentation because that was great what you just said. And if you include a little bit more description when you're presenting it, I think that will help the audience better understand the prototype.
Okay.
But really, really
Thank you.
interesting. I'm wondering, sorry, just doing more than one thing at once. You said that you were looking at how it compared to competitors. Can you go to that slide again, Annie, that shows the kind of research? Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit on when you were doing your research and looking at all these different products, what do you feel like is the biggest gap, the biggest thing that is missing in these other products? What do you feel like we are not paying
I think
attention to that's really important?
so. The main thing that our project contains is automatic waste sorting, and the biggest thing is eco-activist community and news, because it's not only like a bin which is sorting a garbage, it's also like community where we can find people who are also trying to put their impact to create green future.
That's great. So having the monitoring and the component of AI.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I love talking about how it connects people across the community or across even different places in the world. But having that communication about waste is I think is a really good point that you can bring up when you're presenting as well.
absolutely.
But great job. Really
Thank
interesting.
you.
Yeah. And your English is great. Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And can you tell us a little bit about yourself, just so everybody knows?
So my name is Regina, and I'm 16 years old. I'm from Kazakhstan, and I'm student of 10th grade, and I'm studying in NAS school. One of my, that's all.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. It was
Yes,
really,
thank you
really
so much.
great. Great job.
Presenting, yes.
Thank you, you too.
Annie, I'm seeing in the chat that somebody had a technical problem, so they couldn't send the PowerPoint, but are wondering if they could present. Are you
Okay.
guys able to email us the PowerPoint by chance? Would that be possible?
Hi, like, should I send PPT from email?
Yeah, if you can send, I'll put my email in the chat. Actually, I'll put Annie's email in the chat. Annie, I think if
Oh,
you,
do your actually, yeah, do my email so that way I can share. Yeah, you're right. Okay.
or I guess I could do screen share. That's fine. Okay, so I just put my email in the chat. If you want to email it to me, then I can screen share and show the PowerPoint, and you're welcome to present.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you for understanding.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you for presenting and joining us today.
Hmm.
If anyone has any questions for Odina or would like to unmute, please feel free to do so now. And while we wait for our next pitch.
And I'd just like to add, if while we're waiting, that all three of you who presented, and anyone else on this call who is of, the age of 13 to 18 in high school, the equivalent I know around the world is a different name. But if you are a young inventor or you know someone who's a young inventor, we would love for you to join the Pactful community. And I know that some of you already are in there. If you're able to, definitely keep an eye out for applying to the challenge next year, because the Teen Innovation Challenge is open to anyone around the world who has an idea, right? That's the basic of it, who has an idea, and we want to give access to everyone to be able to innovate and be part of a larger community of innovators as well. So definitely keep in touch with us and feel free to send us your email if you have not already. Odina, I'm not sure if we have your email, so feel free to send that over to us. And I'm also going to put in the chat an article that was shared with me by Aryan. I don't think I'm saying your name right, but feel free to tell me the correct pronunciation of your name about his agrobot, if anyone would like to read that as well.
Yes, and I have also included our website in the chat. So please, if you would like to join the Jacobs Teen Innovation Challenge for next year, stay up to date with us there. I'll also include our socials where we will be posting announcements and anything that comes up with the challenge or with any other of our events. We would love to have you join all of those as well.
And Annie, I'm thinking while we're waiting, maybe you can go through those slides of the rubric.
Yes, of course. Okay. Let me just put one more link in the chat for everyone. This one will be our YouTube. So here we have all of our welcome webinars uploaded and a few more resources that talk about what we do here at Pactful. So those are in the chat as well. Feel free to access those. And yes, while we are waiting, I'm going to go through and discuss and okay, so I'd like to take a moment to go over the rubric that we typically use during the JTIC to judge our pitch submissions. The feedback that we provided today reflects the criteria that we look for typically when judging during the challenge. So each section is broken up into three possible points. So what we're always wanting to aim for is this number 3, that we nailed it. So for the problem, we're looking for presentations where the presenter states the problem and aligns it to a global goal. Includes credible research and data. So typically we look for 1 to 2 cited evidences of research. So this can be academic journals, articles, anything that further reinforces your problem statement. We're looking for presentations that identify who the problem affects specifically, and that they also potentially share personal connections or relevance. That is going to be very important when pitching because it shows the weight behind why you're creating the solution. So then for persuasion, this is typically used when you are speaking, so besides your slides. So we're looking for presentations that draw you into the story. A very important component of pitching is storytelling. So being able to clearly convey your purpose, your mission, and why you're doing what you're doing with your prototype. We're looking for presentations that demonstrate a clear understanding of a potential audience for their solution, which is why you might have noticed we were asking about implementation a lot, who has been using your solution so far, because your audience is essentially who you're building this solution for. So having an understanding of that throughout your pitch is very important in conveying that to your audience. We also look for presentations that explain how your solution addresses disparities. So anything to do with race, gender, socioeconomics, and or geography limitations, such as agriculture or medicine, anything that focuses on these areas is really important to highlight as well. We want you to highlight how your solution stands out from competitors. So with the last presentation, we saw that wonderfully with the comparison about why there is a gap in the market. We are also looking for presentations where we believe through your presentation that your solution will change the world. And I strongly believe that all of our presentations here today did a wonderful job of that. Keep that up because that is what will continue to propel you and gain investors and continue putting you into these spaces and grow as an innovator. So with the slides, these are more of technical things that we look for within your presentation slides, which is why we made the comment some of your slides are wonderfully put together and very eye-catching, which is an important component. So you want to make sure that slides use effective visuals and graphics. So anytime you can include pictures of your prototypes, any designs, any diagrams, any planning that you did throughout the design thinking process, we look for that, and that looks very good in your pitches. We would like the slides to incorporate a unique visual tone. So making sure that your slides look cohesive, you don't have different fonts and different sizes that just don't go together. Focusing on that visual appeal will make it more seamless for your message to come across clearly. And then we are also just looking for correct grammar and mechanics. Making sure that there are no typos on your slides can go a long way as well. It's just a way to showcase professionalism and just attention to detail when you're pitching. For the prototypes, once you get into addressing your prototypes, we want to make sure you're addressing plausibility for that prototype to solve your problem. Always connecting everything back to your problem is very essential when pitching. We also would like you to effectively explain the functionality of your prototype solution. So again, all of the presentations did a wonderful job of that as well. Really explaining how your prototype works, where the mechanics are, why you designed it that way. All of that is very important. We're also just looking that you've successfully constructed a prototype, because we have reviewed presentations before and pitches before where there is not a prototype. They just explain the problem and create this hypothetical solution, but it's not a clear prototype. It doesn't have to be physical, but just making sure that you have a solution and a prototype in place and conveying that to your audience is very important. We also look for evidence of testing and data collection. So if you have anything such as tables, photos, videos, charts, all of those are incredibly helpful because again, they convey validation of your solution and real life and real world impact again. We are also looking for evidence of data analysis to support your iteration. That is why we made a comment about wanting you to continue showing us that you made adjustments throughout your design thinking process and throughout your prototype creating process, because those iterations show growth and they show feedback that you have received from not only your audience, but your community and those that you are seeking to help. So that also will go a long way with your pitches. For the presentation in general, we're just making sure that the pitch was delivered clearly and effectively. So that just includes enthusiasm, you're engaging your audience, you're speaking in different tones. Those are all more presentation speaking skills. But again, the more you can work on those, the best way to do that is to just practice. Practice changing up your tone, adding some enthusiasm, create and emphasizing some key points. We also would like you to demonstrate knowledge and expertise of your content. So that is mostly shown through your explanations. So if you explain everything thoroughly, include all your resources, we clearly understand that you are passionate about your solution and about your problem. So that comes across to your audience as impressive and adds more credibility to your solution. We are also looking that you present information in an organized manner. So that just means addressing all aspects of your pitch and maintaining the interest of your audience. Because if you drift off in a different direction or fail to address how everything connects, your audience may be left confused, and we definitely do not want that. So yes, and then yes, those are our criteria that we look for in the rubrics. Does anyone have any questions before we go back to the last pitch that we have? Please feel free to type your question in the chat or unmute. Okay, Rebecca, do we have the next presentation ready?
Yes, we do. So I'm
Okay.
going to go ahead and share
Wonderful.
my screen.
Wonderful, go ahead.
Okay, and you guys are welcome to unmute.
Hello, everyone. My name is Aria, and I'm going to introduce our group Empowers. So, we're thrilled to present Zero Waste, a revolutionary solution aimed at addressing the significant.
Oh, we lost you.
So, what is the problem? Food waste is a critical issue globally, and it has profound implication on our environment. Annual carbon emissions from food waste are equivalent to 3 million cars on the road. Cafeterias and the restaurants often purchase more food than they use, leading to substantial wastage. And surprisingly, 1/3 of all food produced worldwide end up with waste. So in our country, in Kazakhstan, 20-25% of food, approximately 70 kilogram daily, is discarded from cafeterias. So next slide. So what is the solution? We provide an excellent zero waste app. Our app bridge the gap between cafes and consumers. Next slide. Our app not only helps reduce food waste, but also refers affordable, environmental, responsible food for options customers. Is it really beneficial for our environment? In order to know, we have engaged with local business owners such as Ali Khan from Delhi Food Cafe and Mamush from Riza Burger in Turkestan. They have expressed the pressing need for initiative to handle with unused food, emphasizing the environmental and economic impact of food waste. So here we can see our zero waste app. Next slide. In this page, you can see our zero waste app. What are the benefits of our app? Zero waste offers multiple benefits. First thing first, customers can purchase product at half price. Secondly, we connect with restaurants and grocery stores to redirect unused food, reducing environmental impact. And third, leftover food is either sold to consumers or sent to farms for composting. Next slide. So how our app is work? Our system is simple yet effective. Unconsumed food is listed on the app, and the consumers can purchase this at discounted rates. And the unsold food is directed to farms or animal shelters for composting, ensuring nothing goes to waste. Here we can say our Also, we provide some additional features. For instance, our app is not just about buying a food. We have zero waste AI, and instant recommendation for technical issues, and mentoring the raise environmental awareness, and recommendation for optimizing energy use. Next slide. Also, we have done some application prototype. Here you can use this our application prototype, chatbot with AI, and the website. They are all workable at the moment. So what is the function of this zero waste AI? Like here is a glimpse of our application prototype featuring user-friendly chatbot AI. And then the next one is comprehensive website and the various levels of discount tailored for students. Next slide. Also, our app provide gamification bonuses. It means you can buy for more discount prices. So, what's our competitors? Next slide, please. Next slide. So actually, we acknowledge the presence of competitors like Too Good or Oil, Approved Food. However, our zero waste app is uniquely tailored to the needs and the Kazakhstan market, providing a more localized and effective solution. Also, we have development plan. Next slide, please. Actually, our development plan focuses on expanding our market reach and refining our app's functions to ensure that users experience a maximum impact on reducing food waste. Our target includes B2C and B2B segments. It means that individual app customers buying unconsumed food, secondly, farmers purchasing food and the waste compost fertilizers. Next slide. Here you can see our market size. For 5 years, we can have a very big profit from our app. And the last thing is our partners. We are proud to collaborate with several partners who share our vision for sustainable futures. You can see in the PPT. Next slide, please. Next slide. Here you can see our partners. It's Nazarbayev Intellectual School, also Turkestan IT Hub, and the Comcore organization and Daily Food. They can share our vision for a sustainable future. Thank you for your attention. And then the next slide. Here we can see our dedicated team. And thank you for attention. I think together we can make a significant impact on food waste and forward to your support and the collaboration in making zero waste a success.
Oh, are you still there?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, we lost you at the end.
Sorry.
That's okay. Wonderful job.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for presenting.
Really, really great.
Yes. Rebecca, do you have any feedback?
I was curious. Sorry, multiple things. Loved again, very nice slides. It seems like you guys have already really looked through kind of testing and versions of your prototype. I'm curious to know how you've modified or changed your prototype as you've gone through this process. Has there been any, you started off with this, and then as you talked to people, you realized, oh, we need to really include something else or change our prototype? Have you had the chance to do that kind of multiple versions of talking to people and getting feedback?
Yes, of course. Actually, we have done several surveys from our school and from our local residents, and we have already by listening their advice. Also, we have conducted with some researchers, and they said that or using also Telegram chat is one of the best decision. Now we are like changing our functions by listening their advice.
That's great. Annie, do you have anything?
Yes, wonderful. I just wanted to hear more about yourself, if you would like to speak more about yourself.
Yes, my name is Aliya and I'm from Kazakhstan. I'm finished at 11th grade and I'm entering to 12th grade. Actually, I really love working with passion projects, and this one was one of the best ideas for this year. And I really love like working with code and taking a surveys from local people and participating in such wonderful programs. It really like gives me an opportunity to grow as a person.
Right, absolutely. And where do you see, what are your goals for this project specifically? Where do you see it growing, and where exactly do you want it to go?
Accordingly, actually, our group wants to improve this project at the global term and solve this problem. Not only, actually, first we want to help our like local cafes, but by discovering, we have found that this issue is really critical for environment. That's why at the moment we want to improve and help at the global cafeterias and work with them.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yes, we would love to. I would love to connect you with anyone that's currently expanding on that point as well, with potential pitches that you can participate more in. And again, we would love to have you be part of the Jacobs Teen Innovation Challenge once we start the next year. But yes, wonderful.
I have one more question as well. Sorry, I forgot to ask. I was curious, one of the points that you said is that hopefully through this prototype, you're able to connect people, waste food that is at a restaurant not being used or wasted, and connect it with other places that could use it, right? For it to not be wasted and to go to someone else. I'm curious, locally for you, do you find any difficulty in terms of like law restrictions or restrictions from the city to do that? And I ask that question because in the United States, it can be very difficult to have, a lot of times restaurants will not donate leftover food or produce because of issues around laws or things that are in place for health reasons, to not have that food go to another place, even though it on paper or in our minds, it makes so much sense, but there can be a lot of difficulty. So I'm curious if where you are you able to actually recycle food? Or do you also find those issues where you live locally?
So to be honest, at the beginning of this project, we had like this problem. Some people criticized our project. They understood like we are going to we are going to sell used product, like used food. It can be very dangerous, but uh, we really try to explain them that we are going to sell unused food. It's really only helpful, and we are going to control about health of people. I mean, we're gonna sell only unused food with really good conditions, and we hope that uh, people can understand it, because some students couldn't even provide their food when they are studying at universities, and I think it's very best opportunities for them. I think um, we're gonna improve our speech and the ability to give ability to understand to other people, and they can understand it. And now we have found some founders, and they are understanding our project and supporting.
Nice. Yeah, so I think that would be one piece to keep working on, would be to also talk to local people, local officials or health people in the health department, to see how you can actually make it possible within the context of all of the restrictions and laws that we have in place, I'm sure, where you live as well. Because I'm sure that will be, unfortunately, an issue that you encounter anywhere in the world, right? But definitely something to, if you can talk to people who are in those fields, who know what needs to happen, and they might say, this is just not possible, or if you did this and this, then maybe it really could happen. So just
Yes.
something to think about. I know I'm sure you're already thinking about it, but that will probably be a really big hurdle or difficulty, right? But in general, love the idea. I think it's really great, and I'm glad that you're able to contact us and present. So thank you.
Thank you for your support. I really appreciate it.
Of course, thank you so much. And before we wrap up, I would like to see if our first presenter is here. That would be...
I don't believe so.
Right. So that would be ASDU Venture. Is anyone here for ASDU Venture? If not, no worries. In that case, we will go on to announcements. Okay, so before we go, I have a few announcements to share with you all. First, we are very excited to announce that we will be launching a Spanish version of our Pactful curriculum very soon. Our team has been hard at work to ensure our resources are available to as many students and educators as possible, so this is a big milestone. Next, for those able to attend in person in San Diego, our next event will be the STEAM Youth and Community Conference in San Diego tomorrow, August 3rd, from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It will take place at the University of San Diego, and we hope to see you there if you can make it. We know a lot of you are international students, so we would love to have you in spirit, but if not, please continue to check in with us at our website at pactful.com and on our socials that I have linked in the chat. I will also be providing my email in the chat, so please feel free to reach out to me with any questions that you have. And for our participants, I would like to ask all of you to please drop your emails in the chat, because I will be sending follow-up emails to connect you with potential new resources and keep you updated with our challenge coming up. Once again, thank you so much for attending the first Make Your Pitch event. We appreciate you and your participation and support. Let's continue to innovate and make a positive impact on the world. Thank you so much.